fair and balanced now to this front-runner fight that involves Donald Trump. And, of course, the GOP nomination is not set. Neck and neck right now with Senator Ted Cruz, close to blocking Donald Trump on a second ballot at the GOP convention in July. Now, if it does come to a contested convention, what happens? Well, it appears all the Republican candidates have moved on from New York ahead of the state's primary next week. So where does Trump go from here? How is he keeping his lead? Let's bring in Donald Trump's campaign senior policy advisor, Stephen Miller. Let you address what Congressman Maloney just talked about. The Hillary Clinton's for the rest and Donald Trump's only for a certain segment. Fair and balanced, you take it from here.
All right, I'm going to try and interject some hard metrics into this conversation. Pew did a poll recently. It asked the American public whether they thought immigration ought to be kept the same, the rates ought to be lowered, or the rates ought to be raised. By a 3-to-1 margin, voters said lower immigration, don't raise it. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, 3-to-1. Hillary Clinton represents the extreme, tiny minority of this country that thinks the record pace of migration should be increased. So she speaks to a tiny sliver of the American electorate on that core defining issue of 2016. Congressman Maloney says that Hillary Clinton cares about the middle class. If her immigration policies are enacted, there won't be a middle class to care about anymore.
Well, so
I think that's just a good example of how she's not going to do well against Donald Trump.
There may be a bigger issue in front of Donald Trump than Hillary Clinton, and that, of course, is the nearer-term question about Senator Ted Cruz. Now, Senator Ted Cruz, at least the Washington Post is reporting, is really close to ensuring that Donald Trump will not win in a second ballot in the GOP race at the convention if it's contested. You know, how worried are you and Team Trump about something like that?
Right now, we're expecting to get to 1,237 delegates. But I do want to make this point, because it is important. In recent days, our campaign has said it was wrong to cancel the election in Colorado. Our campaign has criticized insider deals where delegates that are pledged to Donald Trump have made secret arrangements to nullify the vote of their congressional districts and vote for Ted Cruz instead. We have been outspoken about this. And Ted Cruz and others inside D.C. have said, well, those are the rules. Well, these are the rules that have been established to protect political interests and betray working Americans for decades. We are proud of the fact that our campaign is criticizing a system that has led to the disaster that has ruined our middle class.
But let me just say, I am with you 100% on some of those issues where it appears to be a complete mess. But Donald Trump is committing some unforced errors here. We can pick up the Virginia example, which we talked about earlier with George Allen, the former governor of Virginia. Donald Trump's Team Trump missed the Virginia deadline to assemble the list of potential delegates, and now Ted Cruz has delegate candidates in 10 out of the 11 congressional. He won Virginia. Donald Trump won Virginia, but he missed the deadline to assemble those delegates to ensure he's got them come Cleveland.
Well, let's talk about two issues there and separate them out. First, on the actual tactical issue of winning delegates. We are putting together in place the best team that is going to be in this campaign, and we've added Paul Manafort to the top of that delegate team, and we feel very confident about that. But on the second point, which is the moral point, and I am going to make it, and I'm happy to make it, it is wrong to disenfranchise voters by going around the country making secret deals with inside party officials, elected GOP officials, and saying, yeah, your GOP district representing 750,000 people supports Donald Trump and rejects Ted Cruz, but we want you to make a secret pact to nullify the vote and support Ted Cruz. All I'm saying is Ted Cruz has only won 3 primaries outside his home state. Ted Cruz is trailing by 2 million votes. Soon it's going to be a lot more votes than that. He has no Democratic path to the nomination. The only way Ted Cruz can win is by nullifying ballots that have already been cast.
It's great to have you, Stephen. I think a lot of people might agree with you on some of your points here and the feeling that some of this is unfair. Stephen Miller, Trump campaign senior policy advisor. We'll see you next time. Thank you.